Wall Street, of course, is trying to make sure that there is what? Deregulation of the banks. Oh, well, we've seen this movie before. We deregulated the banks in 1999 and 2000, and then, of course, they took advantage of that deregulation to take wild risks, and then they crashed the global economy in 2008. Now, under Obama, they passed what I think was incredibly weak financial reform, the Dodd-Frank legislation, and right now banks are in the middle of shredding it. So the financial interests that are aligned against regulation and right now are pushing a bill to deregulate the banks in 4 different ways, which is an absolute disaster, are Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and interestingly, Koch Industries. Although Koch Industries makes a lot of money from oil and many other parts of their business, they actually do a lot of derivatives trading as well. So they're one of the top groups that push for financial deregulation. The same kind of deregulation that caused the collapse in the first place. They got to make money in the short term. Give me more, 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 more. There is no end to the greed. So what's interesting is that when they push for that deregulation bill, it passed the House overwhelmingly, 301 to 128. Now you would think, okay, well, the Republicans control the House, so that shouldn't be that surprising. No, but those are big numbers. That was not a close vote. That's because 73 Democrats switched sides and voted with Wall Street and voted with Koch Industries. In fact, there was 4 co-sponsors of the bill that were Democrats. And those are the faces you're looking at there in that graphic. Let me show them to you a little bit more in depth. Representative David Scott, Democrat of Georgia; John Carney, Democrat of Delaware; Gwen Moore, representative from Wisconsin; and Jim Himes, Democrat of Connecticut. Jim Himes used to work at those large banks. He's pretty much the congressman from Goldman Sachs. Yes, it definitely happens in both parties. Now, gee, I wonder if they got compensated for that. Well, let's take a look at the money they got from financial industry because of their votes. Of course, they would say totally unrelated to their votes. Gwen Moore got $243,400. Now remember, she's a Democrat, and unions also give her money. In fact, unions came in number 2 for her. The financial industry tripled the amount of money that Gwen Moore got from the unions. Gee, I wonder which side she's going to be on. And the same goes for Representative David Scott from Georgia, $220,000, a lot more than any other source. John Carney, $353,000. Well above, about 5 times the second category of donors for him, which I think was lawyers. Jim Himes, comical, $733,000. Well, that's your congressman from Goldman Sachs. And the financial industry has been pouring money into his campaign, and then he sometimes will distribute it to other Democrats as well to make sure that everybody is bribed. That's how you get 73 Democrats voting with Goldman Sachs, the Koch brothers, and all of Wall Street. And that's how this dirty, dirty game is played. So, now, there's one other additional twist. Not enough to just get regular old Democrats and ones that are on the financial committee, of course. One more trick that the Huffington Post explains. Wall Street has targeted not just industry-friendly New Democrats on the Financial Services Committee, but members of the traditionally social justice-oriented Congressional Black Caucus to provide left-wing bona fides on a deregulation bill since the passage of Dodd-Frank. And they go on to explain that the Congressional Black Caucus wields power not only from the votes that it can deliver from its own members, but as a barometer of liberal ideology. Now, you see, they don't have to win the whole Congressional Black Caucus, and they didn't. In fact, 3 out of the top 4 fighters against Wall Street, against deregulation, to make sure they protect consumers and average citizens, are from the Congressional Black Caucus. The top 4 fighters, by my estimation, and Huffington Post agrees, are Keith Ellison, Maxine Waters, John Conyers, all 3 from the Congressional Black Caucus, and Representative Alan Grayson. But they don't have to win the whole caucus. All they got to do is split them. And you spread out enough money, and then all of a sudden they go, oh, come on, look at how many people from the Congressional Black Caucus on our side. We must be liberals. Now that's funny. You see, this isn't a problem of 1 or 2 people. It isn't that George W. Bush was particularly evil or Barack Obama is particularly evil. It's that the whole system is run on these bribes. So do Democrats take them? Of course they take them. Does the entire Republican Party take them? Of course they do. All of the Republicans voted with Wall Street. Those guys who pretend to be populist and grassroots and Tea Party and let's go get them. And they were against the bailouts. Right. They all voted for exactly what Wall Street wanted, okay? It's not a matter of one person. It's not a matter of a good guy or a bad guy. It's a matter of a system that runs on bribes. If you don't get money out of politics, you're never going to change this. Will Wall Street deregulate again? Of course they will. Will they cause another economic collapse? Bet on it. Our only hope is to get money out of politics. wolf-pack.com. That's what we do, man. You join us. By the way, I've got good news coming up very soon on Wolfpack. We already put one state on the board calling for a convention to get that amendment. They think we can't do it. They're so comfortable up there getting their money from Goldman Sachs at hundreds of thousands of dollars at a time. Oh, JP Morgan, Citibank, Koch brothers, give me the money. Oh, there's nothing anybody's ever going to do about it. We're going to get away with it forever. Another state might be coming soon. You think we can't get a convention? You think we can't get an amendment? You think we can't breach that wall? Hold. Wolf-pack.com.